In deep space, silence ruled. Stars burned far away, cold and distant. Behind Earth's moon, hidden in the darkness, an alien ship drifted like a shadow. Inside the ship sat Agent Varen, a spy from the Valari Empire, one of the oldest and most powerful empires in the galaxy. The Valari believed humans were dangerous, violent, and foolish. To them, Earth was nothing more than a primitive world not yet worth destroying. Varen's mission was simple: watch, record, and report. Nothing more. He had spent months orbiting the planet, observing human life from afar. He studied their history, their wars, their strange emotions. To him, humans were confusing, a mix of kindness and chaos, bravery and madness. But on this quiet night, something unexpected happened. Varen's scanners picked up countless human broadcasts, millions of signals filling the air. Curious, he tuned into one. The screen flickered, showing flames and chaos, a building collapsing while people screamed. He almost turned it off, expecting the usual violence. But then he saw it. Humans running into the burning structure. Not away from it. They carried others out, strangers, not family. Some came back burned, coughing, still trying to save one more. Varen frowned. They endanger themselves. For others, he switched to another feed, a battlefield. Human soldiers surrounded by smoke, helping the wounded instead of retreating. One soldier threw himself over a child to block the blast of an explosion. Another feed showed a small scene, a child giving water to an enemy prisoner. Varen leaned closer. They fight, but not for power. Why? He whispered, his voice almost trembling. He remembered what the Valari Council had told him before departure. Humans are primitive. They kill for pleasure. They know no honor. Yet what he saw told a different story. He opened another file. Earth's past. Wars, yes, but also rebuilding, helping, sacrifice, love. The contradiction burned in his mind. Before he could think further, his console beeped sharply. Alert. Distress signal detected. He checked the source. A faint human transmission from Mars Colony, one of humanity's first settlements beyond Earth. The message was broken, repeating endlessly. This is Mars Colony. Under attack. Need immediate assistance. Anyone, please respond. Varen's eyes narrowed. His orders were clear. Observe only. Never interfere. But he hesitated. He checked the Valari database. No report mentioned any attack on Mars. Whoever was attacking wasn't one of his own. He zoomed in on the location. The colony was small, a mining station and a few habitat domes. Hundreds of civilians, not soldiers, and the attackers unknown. Ships without clear identification. Pirates, he muttered, or mercenaries. Varen looked out the viewport toward the red planet glowing faintly under the sun. He could already see explosions flickering on its surface. He clenched his jaw. His orders echoed in his head. Do not get involved. The humans must never know of us. But his eyes returned to the screen, where a mother dragged her child toward a shelter, and human guards fought hopelessly against the raiders. He stood, his claws pressing against the metal floor. For the first time in his life, his logic battled his conscience. These creatures, they fight even when they cannot win, he whispered. He turned toward the control panel. His hand hovered above the command pad. Just one order and his stealth field would drop. The humans would see him. The Empire would call him a traitor. But he remembered the look of that human child giving water to an enemy soldier. Something deep inside him shifted. Maybe, it's time I understand them, he murmured. He activated the engines. The ship trembled softly, breaking from its hiding place behind the moon. Alarms flashed, his command AI warning him. Action violates Imperial Directive 47. Contact with humans is forbidden. Varen ignored it. Override directive. Plot course for Mars. Warning, you are entering restricted engagement space. Do it, he said coldly. The ship accelerated, streaking across the void toward the red planet. As he approached, the sight before him froze his breath. Entire domes in flames, defense drones shattered. Human survivors trapped underground. The attackers were brutal, tearing through human defenses without mercy. Varen could simply record and leave. But his hands were already moving across the console. Target raider engines. Fire low-energy disruptors, he ordered. His ship's cannons flared, invisible beams slicing through the darkness. Enemy ships exploded one by one, their engines dying silently. The humans below didn't know what happened, only that. Suddenly their enemies stopped firing. In the chaos, Varen stayed cloaked, his heart racing. He watched as human soldiers regrouped, shouting in triumph. They believed they had somehow turned the tide themselves. Varen exhaled slowly, his claws trembling. He had broken every rule. He had just saved human lives. But as the smoke cleared, his sensors caught something new, a much larger fleet approaching from deep space. Not pirates this time, organized, armed. Varen stared at the data. The symbol on the ships made his blood run cold. They were Valari vessels, his own empire's warships. He whispered in shock. No, this wasn't supposed to happen. His heart pounded as realization hit him. The Empire hadn't just sent him to watch, they had come to begin the invasion, and now he was between them. And the humans he had just saved. The red planet filled the screen of Varen's cockpit, glowing like an ember in the dark. Smoke rose from the surface, drifting into the thin atmosphere. Explosions flickered around the Mars colony. Bright flashes of war against the endless night. Varen's ship trembled as he slowed to low orbit. Below him, human soldiers fought desperately against invaders. But above them, approaching fast, here came something far worse. The Valari fleet, his own people. 20 warships, each larger than a city, dropped from faster-than-light travel. Their hulls glowed with the sharp silver of Valari steel. The lead ship, Imperial cruiser Vorthan's Claw, opened communications. Agent Varen of the Valari Intelligence Division. You are operating outside authorized parameters. Prepare for retrieval. Varen froze. He hadn't expected this. He thought he had time. Time to understand. Time to decide. But the Empire was already here, and their first act would be to burn Mars to ash. He switched off the comms and stared down at the colony again. Thousands of humans were trapped below, civilians, workers, families. They had no chance. His AI unit beeped in warning. Incoming fleet scan. They will detect us in 20 seconds. He had two options. He could rejoin the fleet, erase his records, and live. Or he could stay hidden, protect the humans, and die. Varen looked at the ground again. Through his optical zoom, he saw chaos. Humans running between burning domes. One soldier carried a wounded comrade over his shoulders, limping through the dust. A small child cried beside a collapsed shelter. Varen whispered to himself, "They don't surrender." For a moment, his chest ached with something he couldn't name. He remembered how his instructors taught him that courage was foolishness, that survival was logic. But what he saw wasn't logic. It was humanity. He clenched his jaw. So be it. Varen powered his ship into the shadow of Mars, hiding from the Valari scanners. He sent a coded message through the colony's emergency band. To any human commander, this is a warning. Enemy ships inbound. Prepare defenses immediately, no reply. Of course not. Why would they trust an unknown signal? He tried again, changing his tone, using human words he'd learned from their broadcasts. This is friendly support. You are in danger. Stay underground and prepare counterfire. Still no answer. He sighed. They will not believe me until they see the truth. Down below, Captain Alara Kane, the human commander of Mars Colony Security, stared at her cracked communicator. Who sent that message? She asked. Her technician shook his head. Signal came from orbit, ma'am. Unregistered source. Could be pirate trickery. Ilara frowned. Or a warning. She looked at the flickering radar. Hundreds of new contacts appeared on the edge of the screen. They're coming. She turned to her soldiers. Get the civilians into the shelters. Power up every railgun we have. Above the planet, Varen watched the Valari fleet form a battle line. His heart sank. They were preparing for orbital bombardment. The Valari commander's voice echoed across all channels. Begin sterilization of the colony. No survivors. This world belongs to the Empire. Varen's claws dug into the console. He had heard those words before, used on other species. But this time he couldn't stay silent. He slammed his hand on the control pad. Override stealth. Power weapons. His AI protested. Warning. Engaging fleet-class targets is suicide. Varen growled. Then let them remember my death. The stealth field around his ship dropped. Valari sensors instantly detected him. Unauthorized unit detected. Identify yourself. Varen answered calmly. This is Agent Varen of Intelligence Command. You will stand down. The voice of Admiral Zarth, his superior, responded, cold and sharp. Varen, you are in violation of direct orders. Cease your interference. Humanity is to be eliminated. They are not what you think, Varen said quietly. They fight for others. They protect. They feel honor. The Admiral's laughter echoed through the comm. You have been contaminated by their madness. Then came the order that sealed everything. All ships target the colony. Fire on my mark. Varen's hands moved faster than thought. He locked his cannons on the lead cruiser and fired. Bright plasma ripped through the darkness, striking the Volari flagship before it could react. The cruiser's shields flared, then shattered. Secondary explosions rip. The red sky of Mars was silent again. Smoke drifted from the dunes where Varen's ship had crashed. The wreck lay half-buried, its metal hull glowing faintly with heat. Inside, Agent Varen opened his eyes. Pain burned through his body. Every sound was distant. The hiss of steam, the slow beeping of a dying system. He tried to move, but his leg was pinned under a broken console. His breathing mask cracked. The air tasted like dust and fire. Status, he croaked weakly. The AI responded in a faint, damaged tone. Hull integrity 0, power 3%, life support failing, Varen coughed. Survivors? You are the only one aboard, Agent. He closed his eyes, feeling a strange peace. Then I am still alive. The AI paused. Multiple human signatures approaching, armed, caution advised. Varen's pulse quickened. Humans? Through the shattered viewport, he could see figures moving in the dust. Soldiers in worn red armor, carrying rifles, walking slowly toward the crash. He knew this was dangerous. If they found out who he was, an alien spy, they could kill him instantly. Yet part of him didn't care he had saved them. Maybe that was enough. Outside, Captain Alara Kane led the rescue team across the dunes. Her voice came through the comms. Keep your weapons ready. The ship isn't human tech. Whatever's inside could still be hostile. They reached the wreck. The hull was unlike anything they'd seen. Smooth, dark, and alive with faint blue light. Ilara stepped closer. Through the cracked glass, she saw movement, a tall, pale figure struggling to breathe. Is that a person? One soldier whispered. No, Ilara said softly. That's our mysterious ally. She lowered her weapon. Cut the hull open. Within minutes, they pulled Varen from the wreckage. His skin shimmered faintly under the light, his eyes silver like liquid metal. He looked more machine than flesh. He coughed as the humans placed an oxygen mask over his mouth. Don't harm me. Ilara knelt beside him. You saved my people. We don't hurt those who save lives. He blinked, confused. You trust an alien? Ilara smiled faintly. You trusted us first. They carried him back to the colony. The surviving humans watched in silence as the alien was brought through the gates. Some stared with fear, others with awe. In the medical bay, Varen lay connected to human machines. They didn't match his biology, but somehow he stabilized. When he woke again, Ilara was there. You're lucky, she said. Our doctor managed to keep you alive. You're tougher than you look. Varen looked around. You could have left me to die. Ilara crossed her arms. We don't abandon people who fight beside us, human or not. He stared at her, unsure what to say. Her words echoed something inside him, something that had been missing in his own kind. You're soldiers, he said softly. They fight without hope. Yet they never stop. Why? Ilara met his eyes. Because we don't fight for ourselves. We fight for each other. He was silent for a moment. Then he said, the Volari Empire will come. They will burn this colony. I was part of them. The room went still. Soldiers gripped their rifles, stepping closer. Ilara didn't move. You were part of them, she said calmly. Are you still? Varen hesitated. His voice cracked. No, not anymore. That night, Varen sat alone in the observation room looking out at the red horizon. Mars was quiet now, but he knew it wouldn't last. He could feel the Volari fleet gathering, hundreds of ships across the void. They would not forgive his betrayal. The colony's radio crackled. A coded Volari signal came through, short, sharp military encryption. He knew the voice instantly. Varen, this is Admiral Zarth. You have one chance to redeem yourself. Disable the colony's defenses. Help us end this quickly. You will live. Varen stared at the comm for a long moment. Then he whispered, "You still don't understand, Admiral. They are not monsters. They are a disease." Zarth's voice hissed. "You are infected. Do what is right, Varen. For Valari." The transmission ended. Varen turned off the comm and looked out at Mars again. He had spent his life following orders, but now he couldn't. Not after what he'd seen. The next morning, Ilara entered the control room to find Varen standing there, working on their defense grid. "You shouldn't be out of bed," she said. He turned to her. "Your systems are weak. I can help. The Valari use plasma-based targeting. If I reroute your shields, they might last longer." Ilara blinked in surprise. "You'd help us fight your own fleet?" "I have no fleet," he said simply. "Not anymore." She watched him work, his movements fast, precise. He didn't hesitate. "Why are you doing this?" she finally asked. He didn't look up. "Because I saw who you are, and now I cannot go back to what I was." There was silence for a moment. Then Ilara said, "For someone who came here to spy on us, you're not very good at staying neutral." Varen gave a small, tired smile. "Maybe neutrality was my first mistake." Hours later, alarms blared across the colony. The Valari fleet had returned, larger than before. Their ships filled the sky like a storm. Soldiers ran to their posts. Ilara and Varen stood side by side in the command center. "Once they start firing," she said, "we won't last long." Varen nodded. "Then we make it count." He pressed a sequence on the console, activating the shield grid. "I've linked your turrets to my systems. You can target faster now." Ilara looked at him. "You're risking everything." He met her eyes. "I already did the moment I helped you." The first shots from orbit hit, glowing plasma that lit up the red sky. The shields flared blue, holding for now. "Direct hit north sector," a soldier shouted. Varen adjusted the grid. "Divert power to the western dome. Keep the civilians safe." The command center shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. "Varen," Ilara shouted over the noise. "If we don't make it," he cut her off, his voice calm. "You will. Humans always do." The battle raged for hours. The colony shook, shields cracking, weapons overheating. But the humans fought with everything they had. Miners, engineers, soldier, side by side. Varen's hands never stopped moving. Every calculation, every redirect of power was done to protect them. Finally, after what felt like eternity, the Valari fleet pulled back, retreating to regroup. The humans cheered. Some cried. Varen leaned against the console, exhausted, his armor scorched. "They won't stop," he said quietly. "Next time they'll bring everything." Ilara turned to him. "Then we'll be ready. Because this time we won't be alone." He looked at her, puzzled. She smiled faintly. "You're one of us now, Varen. Whether you like it or not." For a moment, the alien spy, trained to believe humans were savage, felt something strange inside him. Not confusion. Not fear, something warmer. Something he had no word for. Maybe this was what humans called hope. The Martian horizon burned red as the last human outposts fell silent. Agent Varen stood inside his ship, watching the chaos through trembling hands. The Valari assault fleet was already in orbit. His own people. He had sent the warning to the human base, risking everything. Now the Valari High Command demanded his immediate report. He ignored them. "Varen, respond," the command voice barked through the comms. "You are under investigation for treason." He shut the channel off. His mind was at war. He had seen humans bleed, break, and still stand. He had seen them drag their wounded through fire, not to survive, but to keep one another alive. And now, they were being slaughtered by his people. The sky turned white as Valari plasma bombs hit the Martian surface. The shockwave shook his ship. Through the dust, he could see a human defense line collapsing near a ruined colony dome. A group of soldiers stayed behind to cover the civilians' escape. They had no chance. Varen's sensors showed hundreds of Valari drones closing in. He slammed his fist on the console. "They don't deserve this," he whispered. His AI companion, a cold Valari system named Nerith, spoke in its emotionless tone. "Agent Varen, your hesitation is illogical. Humans are primitives. The Empire's victory is assured." Varen stared at the screen. One last human soldier limping, firing into the smoke while shouting to his comrades to run. The signal cut out. Something inside Varen broke. He couldn't watch anymore. He activated his ship's cloaking and descended through the storm. As he broke through the clouds, explosions flared around him. His ship's sensors screamed warnings. He didn't care. "Prepare ground drones," he ordered. Full medical support. No weapons. The AI hesitated. That would expose our position. Do it, Varen snapped. The ship landed behind a shattered dome. Human survivors turned their weapons toward it, confused and terrified. A dark figure stepped out. Tall, gray-skinned, wearing no armor, only a simple pilot suit. They aimed their rifles. I'm not here to fight, Varen said, raising his hands. His translator echoed his words in human English. I'm here to help. One soldier, bleeding from a shoulder wound, stared at him. Help! You're one of them! Varen pointed to the burning sky. Yes, but I am not them anymore. A missile exploded nearby, knocking them to the ground. Varen shielded the human with his own body, taking the heat across his suit. The soldier stared in disbelief. You're insane, the human gasped. Maybe, Varen said weakly, but courage is contagious. He helped the soldier up and began dragging him toward the wounded group. The ship's drones followed, scanning and sealing injuries with alien precision. One by one, humans watched as the enemy spy worked beside them, pulling rubble, stabilizing the wounded, shouting orders as plasma strikes fell around them. Above them, a Valari battleship appeared in orbit, its shadow covering the red landscape. Nareth's voice came through the comm again. Agent Varen, your actions are now. Silence filled Mars' orbit. The explosion had torn through the Valari command ship, scattering burning debris across the sky. Down on the surface, the surviving humans stared upward, speechless. The red clouds glowed like fire, and for a moment it looked like dawn. Commander Hale, still bleeding, whispered, He did it. That alien? He stopped them, but no one answered. The battlefield was quiet now, too quiet. Then came the static. Human communication relays reconnected. Across the colony, scattered survivors began to report. The Valari fleet is retreating. The invaders were gone. Inside a ruined dome, the humans treated the wounded. Drones, still marked with alien symbols, moved among them, obeying the last order Varen gave. Help them. Every human who saw those drones working silently beside them understood one thing. The alien spy had died saving them. Far away, deep within Valari space, the Empire seethed. Council chambers burned with rage. 1,000 holograms of commanders shouted over one another. Agent Varen's ship destroyed the fleet's core relay. He betrayed his own kind. He fought for humans. High Chancellor Dravos, ruler of the Valari Empire, stood in silence. His cold eyes glowed faintly as he replayed the footage. Varen's ship-breaking formation diving straight into the command vessel and detonating. One advisor said carefully, He was contaminated, Chancellor. He saw too much of them. Dravos raised a clawed hand. No, he understood too much. The chamber fell silent. He turned toward the others. Erase his name. Erase his record. And find every human recording of that event before it spreads. But it was already too late. On Mars, humans rebuilt. Slowly, painfully, the colony returned to life. Yet among the survivors, stories spread about the alien who fought beside them. They called him the Grey Guardian. Some said he destroyed his own fleet single-handedly. Others said he lived, still watching from the stars. Every survivor had a different memory, but all shared one truth. He saved them. Commander Hale often stared at the sky, wondering if Varen could have survived. He doubted it, but part of him hoped. He wasn't like the others, Hale said quietly to his aide one night. He saw what we were, and he changed. The aide frowned. Do you think more of them could change? Hale looked toward the stars. Maybe, if they see what he saw. Months later, a human reconnaissance team on a remote asteroid picked up an encrypted signal, Valari in origin. Weak. Broken. It repeated only 2 words. Still, watching. The signal vanished before they could trace it. The message spread quietly through the human fleet. Many dismissed it as interference, but those who had fought on Mars knew better. The Grey Guardian was alive, somewhere. Back in the Valari capital, not all shared Dravos's hatred. One young officer, Commander Relis, sat alone in his quarters, replaying the forbidden footage, Varen's final moments. He had studied under Varen once, long ago. He remembered his mentor's words. To understand your enemy, you must understand why they fight. Relis whispered to the empty room. You found your answer, didn't you, old friend? He copied the footage onto a secret drive and hid it in the ship's archives. He knew that one day when the Empire faced humans again, they would need to remember what Varen saw, because humans didn't fight for power or pride. They fought for each other, and that made them impossible to truly conquer. Weeks turned into months. The Valari silence around Mars continued, but one day, without warning, human long-range scanners detected movement. A small, unidentified ship, cloaked, drifting near the outer colonies. No IFF codes. No response, but its engine signature matched one thing: Valari design. The ship didn't attack. It simply orbited Mars for several hours, then vanished into deep space. Inside the human command center, Commander Hale stared at the radar display. He smiled faintly. "Varen, you stubborn alien," he turned to his crew. "Send out a message. A coded one. Just in case he's listening." The officer nodded. "Message, sir?" Hale thought for a moment, then said quietly, "You're not our enemy. Not anymore." That night, across human channels, a strange pattern flickered, a binary pulse echoing through subspace. Engineers couldn't trace its origin. It translated to a single word: understood. The Valari Empire had tried to bury Varen's name, but the galaxy had already begun whispering his story. In quiet taverns and spaceports, travelers spoke of an alien who stood with humans against his own empire. They said his ship still wandered the dark between stars, protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. No one could prove it. But when colonists on the frontier looked up at the night sky and saw a faint blue light moving silently above them, they always said the same thing: the Guardian's still out there. Years passed. Mars healed, but the story of the Grey Guardian never faded. Children on every colony grew up hearing it. The tale of an alien spy who betrayed his own empire to save humans. Some said it was a myth. Others swore they had seen his ship, a silent shadow drifting above forgotten worlds. To most, it was just a legend. But legends have a way of returning when the galaxy needs them most. In the cold dark between stars, an old Valari stealth ship drifted silently. Its hull was scorched, its power low, but inside, someone still lived. Agent Varen. His body was scarred, his right arm replaced with a crude cybernetic limb made from human and Valari tech. He had survived the explosion, barely. His ship's emergency jump drive had flung him into deep space before the blast consumed the fleet. He had been alone ever since. Alone, but watching. For years, he intercepted Valari transmissions, tracking their plans. And what he found chilled him. The Empire hadn't given up on humanity. They were preparing something far worse, a full invasion. Varen looked out the window at the distant blue dot that was Earth. "Not again," he whispered. He activated a console. "Nerith, are you online?" The ship's AI flickered to life, voice faint. "Power in at 8%. Life support stable." "What are your orders, Agent Varen?" His eyes hardened. "We warned them." In Earth's orbit, the United Human Defense Network picked up an unidentified signal. Encrypted. Non-human. No weapon signatures detected. The message was short, looping every 10 seconds. "This is Varen, they're coming." Inside the command room, alarms blared. Officers rushed to decode the message. Commander Hale, older now, gray streaks in his hair, froze when he heard the name. "Play it again," the message repeated. That voice, calm, low, steady. It was him. Hale's officers exchanged looks. "Sir, it could be a trap." Hale shook his head. "No, he wouldn't lie." "Then what do we do?" Hale stared out at the dark. "We prepare for war." On the edge of the solar system, Valari fleets emerged from hyperspace. Thousands of ships, more advanced and heavily armed than ever before. Their orders: finish what Varen had stopped years ago. But as they advanced toward Mars, they encountered something unexpected: mines, satellites, and hidden human stations ready for battle. And among them, one ship uncloaked, Varen's. The Valari command channel filled with shocked voices. "Impossible. He's dead." That ship was destroyed. Varen's calm voice cut through the chaos. "You taught me to study the enemy, I did. And now I've learned from them." He fired first. His single ship tore through the lead Valari destroyer with a burst of precision strikes. The humans followed. missile volleys and railguns lighting up the void. The battle for Mars began again. Inside the Volari flagship, High Chancellor Dravos watched in disbelief. He dares defy his own species again? An officer stammered. Chancellor, he's coordinating with the humans, like he's one of them. Dravos bared his teeth. Then he dies with them. He activated a personal channel, broadcasting across all frequencies. Varen, you are a traitor to your blood, to your world. What do you fight for? Varen's reply came softly, steady and cold. For what you never understood, honor. For those who fight not to conquer, but to protect. Then he cut the channel. His ship plunged straight into the heart of the Volari fleet, drawing fire away from the humans. Varen, your shields are collapsing, the human command AI warned. I know, he replied, voice calm, but we need time. He locked onto the Volari flagship's core reactor, the same kind of reactor that had once powered his own ship. Let's finish this, he whispered, armed the last of his torpedoes and fired. The explosion was blinding, a chain reaction that tore through half the Volari fleet. For a moment, every comm fell silent. Then came the cheers from human ships. Direct hit. The fleet's retreating. Commander Hale leaned over the console. Varen, respond. Do you copy? Static, then, faintly. Mission complete, tell them. Courage wins. And the signal faded. Weeks later, search teams scoured the debris field. No trace of his ship was ever found. Some said he died in the blast. Others believed he escaped once more, vanishing into the deep like a ghost. But on the far side of Jupiter, a civilian mining crew once reported seeing a faint blue light drifting past the rings. When they sent a drone to investigate, they found only a message burned into a piece of metal plating. The fight for what's right never ends. The galaxy changed after that battle. Humans became a power no one dared challenge again. Even the Volari whispered his name in secret. Varen, the traitor who fought like a human. But for humans, he was something greater. He was proof that courage could cross species, and that even an enemy could choose to do what's right. And so the legend lived on. Whenever a soldier stood alone on a battlefield, or a rescuer ran into danger, or a colony refused to surrender, they would whisper the same words that had once echoed through space.